evening. This is the regular meeting of the Planning and Development Committee, and we have a quorum. Is there a motion for the approval of the minutes of June 11th? It's been moved in second. Are there any additions, corrections? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Items for consideration. P1, Resolution 55-R-12, designating the portion of Eleanor's Place between Wesley Avenue and Ashland Avenue with the honorary street sign name Charlene Garfield Way. The Citizens Advisory Committee of the Public Places Names recommends approval of Resolution 55-R-12. Funding for the honorary street sign is a program budgeted in the streets material account number .65115. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any,
Just to,
do you want to have a
a
presentation?
couple of comments, sure.
Yes.
This is in my ward, and Ms. Garfield's family members came to me some time ago and suggested this. And looking at the neighborhood and neighbors and talking to some of the neighbors, it was apparent that this was a great idea. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I think we tend to do is we celebrate famous people, famous things, big events. But when it comes down to it, and I can't take credit for this because this is it was one of her neighbors who really fleshed this out in a letter in support. But he pointed out that oftentimes it's somebody who is close to you, who does the little things that makes the biggest impact in our lives. And it's apparent that Charlene Garfield has been that kind of person for quite some time on Eleanor Place and in our community. And I think this is an excellent and fitting way to celebrate all of the positive things she's done to make our community a better place. Craig, I don't know if you wanted to say a few words or not, but you can introduce yourself. And
thank you. I'm Craig Garfield at 332 Florence Avenue in Evanston. Thank you all for considering this application, and I think we really spelled it out in there. I think Alderman Wilson also highlighted it, that I think sometimes simple things are exceptional things. And my mother, Charlene Garfield, has lived in the same home for 43 years in the same block. She's raised 4 children there, all District 65 and District 202 graduates. 8 foster kids have come through that house that have been there from the time of birth all the way through until they became adopted, usually as preschoolers. And she's still in touch with all of them. Now that she has 6 grandkids who are constantly over there playing in front of the house. She volunteered at Dewey School. Way back in the day, she was part of the James Park gardening community when they were starting that. And she also was part of the Evanston Food Co-op before even Whole Foods came to Evanston. So she's been around for a while. And Northwestern students, graduate students have all found their home at my mom and dad's place. And even a Laotian family that was being supported to come back to come live in Evanston and make new roots for their family lived there for over a year in her house. So I think in this world, as Alderman Wilson said, with constant change and a time of constant change, for 45 years, Charlene Garfield has really stayed a pillar in her community, and something so simple really is, I think, exceptional in these days. So I thank you for considering this application.
thank you, Craig.
I think, I just wanted to say, Alderman Wilson, I think this is just wonderful. I smiled the whole time I was reading it because it is wonderful to know Evanstonians that have been in their homes so long. And when you think about 45, 47 years of being in your home, celebrating 50 years in mine this year in the same old house. And it just makes you have a really good feeling. And the wonderful things that she's done with other children and just the neighborhood in terms of being able to welcome someone there and to let them know what kind of neighborhood it is worth recognizing.
Definitely.
Alderman Rainey.
Well, I don't know what the little things are that she did, because everything I heard were big things. Right. So I wouldn't diminish the effort and the successes of this woman in any way. And this is exactly why we created this program, to honor people like Mrs. Garfield. And it's just a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thanks for your support.
Will there be Are you having a special program for the sign?
Yeah, the family's going to, I think, kind of quarterback that, and I think it's still a surprise, right? Okay, so
Oh, nice.
I'm not
Oh,
sure
nice.
if there's anything on TV at your house. What's that?
As long as she's not watching now.
As long as she's not watching.
Or reading the paper.
Right. The phone might be ringing tonight.
Right.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Okay. Moving on. P2, approval of grant to Connections for the Homeless Management Informational System. The Housing Commission and staff recommends approval of the renewal of the Homeless Management Informational System to grant to Connections for the Homeless in the amount of $11,000. Funding will be provided by the Affordable Housing Fund, account number 5465.62770. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comment? Alderman, is your light on?
No, you didn't, I didn't turn it off.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
P3, Resolution 46-R-12, authorizing acceptance of $100,000 grant from the Regional Transportation Authority for the Main Street Station Transit-Oriented Development Plan, and $25,000, a local match from the Economic Development Fund. City staff recommends the adoption of Resolution 46-R-12 that will enable the city to receive an approved $100,000 grant from the Regional Transportation Authority, RTA, for a transit-oriented development plan at Maine and Chicago. Staff recommends that the P&D Committee and the City Council authorize the use of $25,000 in economic development funds as the local match. Is there a motion? Any questions, comments? Alderman Wilson?
I'm going to be a little bit of a downer, I guess, in a way, but it's a total of $125,000, and my understanding is this is just for the study. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. And to me, $125,000 would go a really long way toward actually doing the things in that little corridor that need to be done, the physical things. For example, there are currently no bike racks at the Main Street Metro Station, which, with all of the effort going into that, it's almost shocking, but there are none. And I take that Metro, and I, am one of those annoying people that has to lock their bike to a light post, and but that's just the way it is. So I'm a little frustrated that there's, lots and lots of money going toward the study, and it seems to me that we don't necessarily need to study it quite so much as actually doing the work. But it is what it is. So if they want to study it and put something to back it up, that would be greatly appreciated. But I still just wish that they would paint the bridge and clean it up, and. But I guess this is just part of the way they're looking at doing the process.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I understand and share Alderman Wilson's frustration on a number of fronts, but yes, this is how these large agencies do work. And one of the ways in which you get them to do something concrete, which is a really bad pun, is to have a plan, so that when money comes available to do something larger, for instance, repaint the viaduct, or come up with ways in which people who ride the CTA know how to get to the Metro. I mean, that is frequently a problem, believe it or not, for people. They get off the Metro and they don't know how to get over to the CTA entrance. They're confused by that. So the more that we can create a better connectivity there, among other things, that if you have a master plan that's developed, then that's the first step to getting funding. If you don't have it designed, or an idea or something fairly well thought out, you're way back at the end of the line in terms of getting funding. This was definitely the case on Chicago Avenue with the CTA embankment improvements. We had that plan for the last 8 years, and lo and behold, CTA funded it a year or two ago, and it's done. They would never have funded it unless we had done the plan and the design. And that was 8 years ago. I hope none of this takes 8 years. Some of it might. But I think that this is design money that's very well spent. And in the past, we have piggybacked our money on a much larger sum in order to get the plans designed and drawn, the ideas on paper. And then we are able to move forward with the next phase, which is getting funding. And I think we can make a request for bike racks right now. You know, let's make that request to RTA.
I've personally done that to Union Pacific.
Well, let's have the mayor write a letter, and let's all write more letters, because that's disgraceful. That should be done.
Alderman Fisk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alderman Nguyen is correct. I mean, this is the bureaucracy that we have to deal with, and sometimes it's frustrating, but it is what it is. And to not accept the money would be a huge mistake and would just remove us from the channels that we need to go through to get this done. It also provides an opportunity for the public to be involved, and that's really important, that planning include public participation, what they would like to see within the area, which I'm sure will include bike racks. And even more, transit-oriented development is one of Evanston's strong suits, and we really, I believe, need to take advantage of this. But I understand your frustration, Alderman Wilson.
Alderman
But it
Rainey?
is what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Rainey.
Well, Alderman Nguyen gave the exact correct speech about why we have to do this, even though sometimes it's painful to spend this kind of money studying. But Alderman Wilson, it does include the possibility of an elevated bicycle plan. So all will not be lost. For $125,000, we will get something having to do with bicycles.
And I guess, I'm not opposing it, and I think we should take the money, but I just think that the fundamental problem is reflected in all the comments. You know, this is the way it is, and this is the way you have to do it. But I think at some point, at some level, we have to start talking about rethinking it and thinking about how it could all be done differently, because all of these things someday, 50 years from now, maybe will get done differently. So we'll see. Thanks.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Rainey.
I would like to be there when you have, when we have the discussion about dismantling CMAP. That's what I would like to see.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that completes our agenda. We have no items for discussion this evening, and I believe the city council will begin immediate, 5 minutes.
Okay. Nice job. 5 minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to move for adjournment, I'm sorry. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We are adjourned.